In my restless dreams, I see a bright future of the franchise, Silent Hill. You promised me you would take a good care of it, but you never did. Well, I'm alone here now, in my special place, waiting for you to blow my mind with another banger. You used to make me happy. Before Hidetaka Miyazaki started the Age of Fire in my gamer's heart with his Soul series, another franchise held my fascination. What? Silent Hill. Fascination, though, isn't always unconditional love. My relationship with Silent Hill, even the good games in the series, wasn't always love at the first sight, or a harmonious marriage filled with flowers and butterflies. It was ambivalent, to say the least. I didn't always agree with Team Silent's decisions. The slow, clunky combat system frustrated me, and the story and lore weren't always my cup of tea. Yet something overshadowed my complaints. As a kid, I'd tag along with my mom to the library. One day I grabbed a book because its cover looked cool. It was Stephen King's Desperation. That book sparked a lifelong fascination with the author and with one of his usual themes, quirky, disjointed American towns. Settings both exotic and uncanny to me, growing up in the other side of the ocean. And so I was pre-programmed to be drawn to the weirdness of Silent Hill, a foggy, eerie American town. My journey with the franchise began quite unconventionally with Silent Hill 4: The Room, often considered the weakest of Team Silent's 4 core games. I stumbled across its trailer before its release in 2004, and though I can't recall its details, one thing burned into my mind. The song hooked me instantly, and I needed that game.
Give it to me.
So in September 2004, when the game came out, I got it, and it captured me. Unfamiliar with the concept of survival horror, I was surprised by the game's calm opening. I was used to smashing monsters from the start, but the room was different. Henry Townsend wakes up in his chain-shut apartment, reacting to the fact with the calmness of a salad cucumber.
Oh yeah.
Hello?
Leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.
Then he finds a hole in his bathroom wall and crawls through it with the decisiveness of my high school crush accepting a prom invite.
Oh, hell no!
One of the interesting things about Silent Hill: The Room is that it isn't a Silent Hill. At least not in a literal sense. It's set in the city of South Ashfield, 168 miles from the titular town. A persistent rumor claims it was originally a standalone title called Room 302, but was rebranded later for sales. Though Konami debunked this, still, do we actually trust Konami? Being a fan of Silent Hill and not getting to Silent Hill in the brand new part of the series must have been quite a bummer, I would imagine. But I had a superpower. And the superpower was ignorance. As someone who'd never played a Silent Hill game before, I didn't mind the absence of the town. To me, Silent Hill wasn't a physical place, but more of a mental concept. A weird, insanity-laced world that toyed with the human psyche. Funnily enough, Konami uses a similar argument today, 21 years later, to market Silent Hill F, set in 1960s Japan, far from America. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What The Room lacked in Silent Hill geography, it made up for in atmosphere. Thick, suffocating, and unforgettable. The decaying apartment was a character in itself, and the levels, well, the traditional subway level was nothing to write home about, but it only got better from there. With the infamous water prison leaving no horror fan wanting. The brownish dirty filter amplified the sense of despair. But there were flaws. Being developed alongside Silent Hill 3, switching between third-person exploration and first-person apartment segments, and its rumored origin as a non-Silent Hill game led to a troubled development. To stretch the game, the second half forced players to revisit earlier levels, now escorting a neighbor who, while immortal, thank God, spent more time on her knees than Monica Lewinsky. Her damage intake affected the ending, so good luck if you aimed for the best one. Nothing screams fun like repetitive backtracking with a liability in tow. And then there were the ghosts. Immortal enemies that stalked you relentlessly. You could slow them down with rare special bullets. Candles, which were rarer than Elon Musk not naming a child after a math equation, or pin them with one of 5 swords in the game. But they would just dust themselves off and resume the tango when you pick the sword up again. Their mere presence drained your health. Fun, right? However, years later, I barely recalled these frustrations. What lingered was the gripping art style, moody ambience, and butter-thick atmosphere. Silent Hill 4 felt like a fever dream. As the game progressed, ghostly creatures invaded Henry's apartment, crawling from the walls unless I banished them with candles. Over time, I questioned whether this feature was real or a figment of my 14-year-old imagination. Spoiler alert, it was real. And it was fucking terrifying. After enjoying the room despite its flaws, I sought the best way to continue my Silent Hill journey.
Please, sir, I want some more.
You guessed it. The internet pointed me to Silent Hill 2, widely regarded as the series' pinnacle. I played it around the release of the first Silent Hill movie, which I was very fond of. But Silent Hill 2 didn't deliver that. At 16, I didn't mind the clunky combats. After all, having played the room, I didn't expect anything else. But I craved the movie's chaotic uncertainty, where sirens signaled a desperate run for survival from the horrifying otherworld. Instead, Silent Hill 2 felt systematic, almost checklist-like. The otherworld only triggered inside buildings, where I'd work room by room, key by key, before returning to the calm, creepy town. But at least I was in the town this time. It felt scripted, not organic. My teenage self, expecting a Hollywood thrill ride, was unimpressed. The themes of mental illness, guilt, and family tragedy also slipped past me. The acclaimed story of James Sunderland's journey being just his wife's dream after passing out during a neighbor's house party. Oops, spoiler alert, but come on, the game is old enough to drink. Didn't click. A thing the remake was to change dramatically. Making my way backwards through the series, I continued with Silent Hill 1 via PlayStation emulator on PC. But the archaic graphics, clunky gameplay, and poor emulation made me drop it early. I am eager to revisit it with the upcoming remake. After that, I took a long break until the Silent Hill HD collection released in 2012 included Silent Hill 2 and 3. It got totally roasted by the fans. Excluding the first and the fourth game was infuriating. It was like Konami literally saying, "We don't want to put in the work, we are just in for the money." I mean, it's literally 2 games. How do you even come up with the name collection? Bugs plagued the release, though I didn't notice them so much on my Xbox 360. The new voice acting sparked outrage, especially for Silent Hill 2, where even the optional original audio included new dubs. Silent Hill 3 lacked the option to revert to the classic audio entirely. The sound design was inconsistent. Some effects were too quiet, others ear-piercing. And then there was the fog, or better, the lack of it. In the remasters, the characters were kind of pushing a vast invisible wall in front of them, making the fog start abruptly in a few feet radius. Sometimes it was missing entirely. The fans wanted an explanation. You see, Konami had apparently lost the game's original source code. Instead, the developers were given an older, incomplete build of the games to work off. This meant they had to work with less polished versions and figure out how to recreate certain visual effects, including the fog. The HD version of Silent Hill 3 was my first experience with the game, which unfortunately did not help me build a good opinion about it. I found it the weakest of the three I'd played. By then, I'd lost my superpower of never having visited Silent Hill. The game's shopping mall slog before reaching the town felt uninspired, and the monster designs disappointed me. The story, lauded by many, leaned heavily on occult themes, human sacrifices, ancient gods, godly fetuses.
What?
Things I couldn't care less about. I love eerie ghost stories and psychological terror. Lovecraftian cosmic horror is not my cup of tea, which is also unfortunately my biggest gripe with the beloved Bloodborne. Gameplay-wise, it didn't differ much from 2 or 4, so it ranked bronze in my book. That is, until... In 2005, 1 year after Silent Hill 4, Konami dissolved Team Silent, the studio behind the first 4 games, because of the company's restructuring. As a result, key members of the team either left the company or were appointed to other projects. Seeking to target Western audiences, favoring lower costs, and action over slow horror, Konami outsourced future titles to Western studios, since survival horror was just on the rise in the West. I skipped Silent Hill Origins and jumped to Homecoming, developed by an American studio, Double Helix. The shift to action was approximately as subtle as a clown car in a stealth mission. Protagonist Alex Shepard, a soldier coming back from the war, returns to his fog-covered hometown, not Silent Hill again.
What? Oh, come on, man.
To find his family in disarray. The 2008 reviews praised the smoother combat. Well, I don't know what those guys were smoking back in the day, but to me, Homecoming features one of the worst combat systems in the series. I found it clunky and frustrating. Alex wouldn't hit a train if it was standing in front of him. The focus on fighting didn't improve on past games, making it a slog. Yet, beneath the mess was a gripping story of guilt, family tragedy, and psychological terror. And also some riddles with no reset button. What the fuck, guys? It's a shame the gameplay buried its potential. Shattered Memories was a bold reimagining of the first game and also the closest I've ever gotten to playing the first Silent Hill. And it was pretty good actually. Played on my wife's Nintendo Wii, it offered a fresh take on the Silent Hill formula, focusing on exploration over combat with a psychological profiling system that shaped the world based on my answers to a therapist's question during the game's intermezzos. Chase sequences in its frozen otherworld were tense and less annoying than I expected. Using the Wii controller as a flashlight added immersion. I enjoyed it, but its mixed reception and poor sales left it a, well, shattered memory. Next, I played Downpour, developed by a Czech studio, Vatra Games. It followed Murphy Pendleton, a prisoner stranded near Silent Hill after a prison bus crash. Murphy was being transported to a high-security facility after brutally murdering another inmate in the prison shower room. Downpour is a story of guilt, family tragedy, and psychological terror. Is something getting a little stale around here? You see, I love pizza.
How can you sit there and eat pizza?
I don't know, James. How can you stick your hand to every hole you come across? Shut up. Yesterday, my wife and I ordered a pizza for lunch. In the evening, we met a group of friends and they booked a table in a pizza place for us. Today, I had to finish the rest of our lunch pizza from yesterday. I mean, I love pizza, but there might be time for a little diet change. Downpour did try new ideas. A small open-world Silent Hill, a patrolling haunted police car and its otherworld sections, minus the constant vortex chases because fuck them, felt cool. Its aesthetics reminded me of 2 of my favorite games, Deadly Premonition and Alan Wake, so that was a plus. Silent Hill Downpour also introduced a mechanic every game needs to achieve absolute
Perfection.
weapon durability. A very unforgiving weapon durability at that. I don't know what materials Silent Hill manufacturers use to make their tools, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kanye West's ego was an important ingredient, judging by how fragile their axes, crowbars, and even the fucking guns are. Fans and critics panned the game, and it marked the end of major Silent Hill releases until 2024. In 2014, an interactive teaser for the new Silent Hill game called Silent Hills was released. The project was a cooperation between Hideo Kojima and the filmmaker Guillermo del Toro, and it just seemed too good to be true. In the end, it was. Still, the teaser, taking place within one evening in one hall, stays one of the scariest experiences among all media for many. At the time of its release, there were more legends around it than the Bermuda Triangle. To finish it, you had to light a candle 4 minutes after midnight, say Konami 7 times, spit on the floor, and sacrifice your thirdborn. If you didn't have a thirdborn, you were fucked. The fact that it has been taken down from the PS Store and has not been available ever since only cemented its mythic status. I, unfortunately, never played it myself and had to rely on a second-hand YouTube experience. Even in that form, the game gave me goosebumps. More importantly, in my opinion, we would not have the Silent Hill 2 remake we do today, but more on that later. Yeah, not worth digging up corpses. Yeah, I was a disbeliever, and I was not alone. I played the first Layers of Fear on release in 2016, and I loved every second of it. Then I played Layers of Fear 2, and honestly, while it's generally still perceived as a good game, I hated it. So much, in fact, that I haven't touched anything made by the studio ever since. And then the shit hit the fan. The combat reveal trailer left me speechless. And sad, making the game more accessible for modern audiences. Showing off a classic horror tale by showcasing gutting monsters. What the hell? Then the accusations came.
Wasn't me. Saw me banging on the sofa. It wasn't me. I even had her in the shower. It wasn't me.
It's not us, it's Konami. So here we have a studio making bad games, not willing to accept valid criticism and playing the blame game with their bosses instead. We were in for a ride. I guess we all know the outcome today. So let us circle back to the Layers of Fear. I said earlier that without the playable teaser, we would not have the Silent Hill 2 remake in the form we do today, and I meant it. Bloober Team's first game, the one I loved so much, was a shameless copy of P.T. Bloober essentially took the teaser, copy-pasted its ideas, slapped a different story on it, and released it as its own thing. And people loved it. Rightfully so. I am certain that without a Polish studio winning this experience, and without Konami having seen this brilliant, albeit shameless copy of its own work, they would never have received the opportunity to craft this gem. As much as I was mostly positive but largely indifferent to the original, the remake hit hard. I immediately played it twice, back to back. I couldn't get enough of the atmosphere, the music, the story. I don't need to waste my breath on the graphics, the actors' performances, they were all just stellar. And they are probably a large part of the fact that the story hit me completely different this time around, straight to the heart. Or maybe it's the fact that I am almost 2 decades older than when I was playing it the first time. I have a wife and a kid, and the story of a wife passing out at a party, no. I don't even want to joke about it anymore. It doesn't deserve it. I guess you all know the story of Silent Hill 2, and if you don't, go watch one of the zillion stories analyses on YouTube, or better yet, go play it yourself. And go play it even if you know and have played it, because the story deserves to be told and played over and over. So thank you, Konami and Bloober Team. Thank you for giving me not only probably one of the best games I have ever played, but also one of the strongest experiences. An experience that is not only entertaining, but also smart, deep, and full of different emotions. One that probably stays with me forever. Just now I realized that I probably just described art. So now I'm waiting, very anxiously, for the new chapter. A chapter that will not take place in Silent Hill, well, probably at all. Far from it. Set in the 1960s in Japan, it's a living example of the statement that Silent Hill is not a place. It is a concept, a state of mind. Is this a good idea? I don't know. It worked for me once, decades ago. But can it work again? After I have visited the very place countless times, will I miss it? Silent Hill F will focus on psychological fears and personal trauma, which sounds good in my ears. I just hope I don't have to eat yet another pizza for today's dinner. The combat system will include dodges, timed parries, and encounters with difficult boss monsters. Sounds familiar? Yeah, sounds scary. But not in the way the developers are probably aiming for. Can I be positively surprised? Of course I can. I have been in the past. So, fingers crossed for us, the gamers, and the franchise. Let's hope F does not stand for failure. And what's your take on the Silent Hill series? Let me know in the comments, and if you liked the video, please consider a like and subscribe. See you in the next one.